Okay, so we need to have a discussion about these three new 2025 releases. Okay, one is from the House of Oud, the other one is from Nuit Nomade, which is a fragrance house that I absolutely love, and the third one is from Profumo de Firenze, which you guys know that I also enjoy, and I have several of their fragrances. Now, I have discussed my thoughts, my initial thoughts on these three fragrances with you during a Saturday morning chatty scent corner. I know that I discussed my preliminary thoughts about them, not my first impression, but just from looking at the notes and from some of the things that I had heard, what I thought that they would be about. Well, what I am here to tell you today is that what I am getting from them is not what I expected at all. So we are going to have this conversation. Now, you know that if I did not start this video by saying hello and welcome, we are about to have an interesting discussion. I actually had another video programmed for today, and I decided to just hurry up and record this one and tell you how I'm feeling about these perfumes in case you are interested. Now, here's how we're going to approach it today. I am going to start by telling you what I expected from each perfume, then I'm going to share with you what I'm actually getting, and at the end, I will tell you my final thoughts on each fragrance as we go along. But just to make sure you don't feel cheated, hello and welcome. But if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go fam. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with the latest from the House of Oud, and this one is L'Explicite. Now, I hope that I'm pronouncing it correctly. Now, let me just remind you, so during a Saturday morning chatty scent corner, I told you that I was really considering picking this one up and that I was to a certain extent excited / curious, right? Because this is a fragrance that has the note of banana and peanut butter. To begin with, I only have a couple of fragrances in my collection that are banana-centric that I absolutely love, and I shared those with you that day. And I told you that, you know, banana is not a note that I find frequently in fragrances, and, you know, sometimes it's just not done the way that I like it. It really gives that very synthetic smell. So I was excited about the thought of a peanut butter and banana, right, type of fragrance. But then I questioned the fact that this has violet in it. And while I love the note of violet, I just didn't know how you could combine peanut butter, banana, and violet, and it would be a great fragrance. I really thought that most likely this would be a project gone wrong. But for a while, I debated and I hesitated, you know, wondering, should I pick it up? Should I not pick it up? Being extremely curious. Then I tried to find a sample, and I didn't find a sample when it was first launched. Actually, it was quite difficult to find the fragrance when it first launched, like available at a retailer. But I did find an old gift card to a retailer that was actually selling it after a couple of weeks of the fragrance being launched. So I ended up picking it up. But I have to tell you, wow, was I wrong. So let's talk about this fragrance in detail. So let me just start by saying that L'Explicite, I think that that's the right way of pronouncing it. I hope that one of those two is the right pronunciation, but if not, I apologize. Let me just start by saying that, to me, this is a truly unconventional gourmand. This is the ultimate in unconventional gourmands, okay? Because this is a fragrance that is extremely banana-centric. It opens with a very, very strong and real and dominant banana note, a banana note that is relentless. You will have this banana scent, this very real, banana scent all the way from first sniff throughout the olfactory journey, at dry down, all throughout the wear of the fragrance. It is not going anywhere. So if you do not like the scent of banana, of a fresh banana, of a ripe banana, sweet banana, then this fragrance is definitely not for you, because that's what you're going to get. Now with that, the opening is also like, it's very fruity. So when you first sniff it, it's not like you pick up on the banana immediately. At least that's not my experience. What you pick up on is a very strong fruitiness and sweet, not excessively sweet, but it is definitely sweet and very fruity. Now, almost immediately in that opening, as I said before, you're going to pick up on that banana, distinguish it from the other fruits. I can't tell what the other fruits are because, again, to my nose, it is truly all about the banana. Now, midway in the olfactory journey, what I feared would happen when I was hesitant about picking this fragrance up or not happens, right? Because midway in the olfactory journey, as I'm approaching like midway in the olfactory journey, and then in the mid of the olfactory journey, I'm picking up on the banana, the peanut butter, the bread. It's like they all come in, and the spices. And by the way, they have not disclosed it, but within the spicy notes, which make the fragrance warm spicy, I am clearly picking up on the note of cinnamon. All of those notes come together, and it's almost like they're all in a kitchen somewhere, and they're all coming together to form what I am going to tell you I'm getting at the dry down. So then as the journey continues and we are about to approach the dry down, I start to pick up on hints of the vanilla. Seriously, up until that moment, I'm not really picking up on the vanilla much. I'm still not picking up on the violet or any other florals. But at the dry down, I get the most exquisite, like freshly baked, warm, moist banana bread pudding. That is what I'm getting, like banana bread or banana bread pudding. Now, the interesting part for me, guys, is that if you've been with me for a while, that I am not into smelling like bread whatsoever. So this has been a very unique and pleasant surprise for me, because the smell at the dry down is definitely that of banana bread or banana bread pudding. You are going to get that bread scent. You are going to get that very real banana. You are going to get a little bit of the fruitiness, and you're definitely going to pick up on the spiciness. Now, the interesting part of this fragrance, what really, to top it all off, really threw me off from my initial expectation, is that at the dry down is divided like in two phases. In the first phase, you're going to get that banana bread or banana bread pudding. But then, like maybe a half hour into a very strong projection of that banana bread or banana bread pudding, I started to pick up on the violet. And at the beginning, I thought maybe I'm just picking up some florals. No. It is clearly violet, because the fragrance also becomes a bit powdery. But then it continues to intensify. That has never happened to me. It's just so interesting. But I am telling you, that is when I pick up on the violet. It's like a little bit after you get that complete experience of the banana bread, then you're going to start to experience like the magic of the real dry down of the fragrance, which I'm telling you is like a half hour into that strong projection that I'm getting from the dry down, where I'm just getting banana bread or banana bread pudding. Then guys, at that new dry down, to call it something, I am getting the most beautiful, like smooth, musky, a little bit sweet floral scent that has as a backdrop like an ambery quality and a very real banana with a touch of powderiness. That is what I get at that final dry down. Now that scent is the one that carries me throughout the entire wear of the fragrance, and the one that when I talk to you about the sillage of this fragrance, I'm pretty sure that that's what, others were picking up on if I was wearing this fragrance, and that they decided to give me a compliment on, because I am telling you that scent is absolutely beautiful. And what I find fascinating is not only what happens at the dry down, that duality, but also that the banana here you know, in that final dry down, the banana is very real, but you're not really smelling like food because, again, you are getting a very beautiful, smooth, ambery, a bit sweet floral scent that is also a tad powdery. Now, here's a couple of things that I have to say before I continue giving you more of the details around the review of this fragrance. I am loving that I do not smell like bread in this final dry down. I'm getting my banana, and it's a very real banana without having to smell like bread or necessarily smell like food. I love, absolutely love, how the violet has been coupled with that very real banana and created such a lovely musky scent. The musk is not excessive because the musk that I pick up on this fragrance is like a level 2 because, again, that smoothness takes care of that muskiness that could have been otherwise a bit overwhelming. But here it is done just exquisitely. You know, guys, I have around 7 additional bottles from the House of Oud, and I have to tell you that right now, this is my favorite fragrance, and I would have not expected that at all. There are other banana fragrances in my collection, as I mentioned before, and 2 of them are my top favorites. And this one is definitely a contender to take one of those top spots. This is a fragrance that does have musk, as I mentioned before, but it's a level 2, which means that you're going to pick up on the musk, but it doesn't have an animalic quality. It's not overpowering, and it has been done in a very smooth and beautiful way. There is absolutely no oud, as I said before, and I think that this is a fragrance that is really unisex. I would not say that it leans to the masculine or to the feminine side. This is truly a unisex fragrance that you can wear all seasons of the year. I would definitely pull this during the summer, and this is a fragrance that you can use for any occasion, day or night. But if you're wondering, well, are you sure, Rahi, that this being a gourmand and, you know, being banana and those other notes, that it won't be too much for a very hot summer day? Well, maybe you don't want to wear it out on a very hot summer day if you're going to the park or jogging, but I really think that you can get away with it because this fragrance is just so smooth and so beautifully done. And at the dry down, it's not that dense. While you have that banana and the banana is real, if anything, you could probably, you know, just wear it and try to pick up on a little bit of like a tropical vibe because of that banana. The other thing that I did want to mention to you is that, in my opinion, this is not a fragrance that I would layer with other fragrances. I think that this fragrance has on its own so much going on, and it does such a spectacular job that layering would probably take away from it. So this is at least a fragrance that I do not plan to layer with, but hey, you do you and whatever works for you. As far as projection, as I was saying earlier, this is a fragrance that is giving me a full day wear. There are no performance issues on my skin with this fragrance because it is giving me 8+ hours with an initial a little bit over 2 hour actually, strong projection. And it is also one that has gotten me already a couple of compliments from just my initial wearing it out of the house. So all in all, guys, I am so not just impressed, but I have to be honest, I'm a little bit shocked because I never expected this fragrance to really make me feel the way that I do and perform, and the olfactory journey and that very real banana. I did not expect that at all, but I give this fragrance a 9 out of 10. All right, so next let's go ahead and talk about the latest from Profumo de Firenze, and this one is Maraviglia. Now, Maraviglia stands for wonder, and I know that this was a fragrance that I also brought to a chatty scent corner. You know, I didn't actually bring the fragrance. I just told you what I thought, you know, it may be about based on the notes and stuff like that. But again, I was totally wrong. So let me tell you first of all what I expected. So I expected from the notes, right? And of course, also from the typical DNA of this house, I expected this fragrance to be a very citrusy, a little bit fresh, spicy, citrusy to the point of maybe even being a little bit zesty based on the notes. And I thought that this was going to be a fragrance that may even give me a bit of a tropical vibe because of the coconut and the other notes involved, and that there would be a touch of florals here and there. But that is not what you're going to get whatsoever. So let me just start by saying that this is the most aquatic quality fragrance that I have picked up in a very, very long time. This fragrance is all about that aquatic quality. And you know, the most interesting part, which is what shook me, is that they have not disclosed aquatic notes. They have not mentioned aquatic anything or marine anything in the notes of this fragrance. But when I tell you that this fragrance, when you sniff this fragrance, it immediately puts you like at the beach. You know how you're at the beach during the summer and you're sitting there and it's a bright sunny day and you can smell the salty water and there's like a scent in the air. Well, while this fragrance does not smell exactly like that, it is very much reminiscent of it, to the point that as soon as I spray it on, I feel like I'm at the beach during a summer day, and that we're approaching the end of that summer day, and I'm picking up on that seaweed scent. I'm picking up on like the whole, I'm telling you, the whole beach scene. It is just very, very interesting. So let me tell you, so the fragrance opens up fresh, spicy. It does open up very fresh, spicy, and it also opens very citrusy. If I had to pick one of the two to be the dominant in the opening, it would be that citrusy quality of the fragrance that then leads into that feel of like fresh, spicy, and immediately you're going to get that aquatic quality that I've been talking about, and that will be present from the opening throughout the entire olfactory journey and throughout the wear of the fragrance. If you are not into aquatic notes or into marine notes or aquatic feels within a fragrance, then this is not for you, because I am telling you, it is very, very dominant. As the journey continues, you are going to start to pick up on like florals, but I can't even distinguish what the florals may be. I just know that there's like a bouquet of florals involved, because I do pick up on a floral quality to the fragrance. But I have to tell you that at the same time that those florals step in, the aquatic quality that I've been talking about, that like marine note that is present, intensifies. The other thing is that when that happens, you're also going to pick up on that sea salt note, because to me, it is very, very clear to my nose that it is a sea salt note, but it comes in combination, you know, with the like marine quality that the fragrance has. And it literally gives you the feel, the scent, the vibe of like salty ocean water. That's exactly what I get. And at that, I'm at the beach. I mean, I'm telling you, this has got to be one of the most realistic and best summer fragrances so far that I've picked up in 2025 and maybe even in 2024, because this is extremely realistic. And I don't know about you, but I really did not expect that from this fragrance whatsoever. The other thing is that you also have the note of, if I remember correctly, moss and oak moss. But I don't necessarily pick up on that. I get something that to me smells like a little bit like seaweed, and it may just be a combination of the musk note and the oak moss that maybe accentuates that musk quality, because to me, the musk level in this fragrance is like a level 3, which means that you are going to pick up clearly on the musk. So you must be into a musky fragrance. But I also have to tell you that the musk to me in this fragrance is a tad animalic, which, by the way, just adds to that entire feel of being at the beach and that aquatic vibe and quality of the fragrance. At the dry down, quite clearly, guys, for me, this is all about the real scent of being at the beach at the end of a summer day. That is what I am getting clearly. It's the same way that I sniff that ocean salty water, like there's just, and then I even get like a little bit of seaweed in there. I don't know, it's just very, very interesting, but it is an exquisitely beautiful summer scent. Is this a fragrance that I would use to go to a formal event during the summer? Absolutely not. But if I'm in a remote location, like in a tropical island somewhere, and there's an event in the evening, like if you're going to a destination wedding or something like that, oh, this fragrance would be great for that. And it's great for you to use all throughout the day. The performance is quite lovely in this fragrance because it will give you a full day wear with a very strong projection during the first 90 minutes, and then it does become a skin scent, but it is a very strong skin scent that will give you sniffs of the fragrance all throughout the day. To me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is a fragrance that I will only pull during the spring and summer seasons, and if I'm honest, primarily during the summer. I will never pull this fragrance during the fall and or winter at all whatsoever. I may pull it during a very warm spring day, but this is perfection for the summer and perfect if you're going to a very warm destination on holiday. It is just absolutely perfect. It's going to go right along with the entire vibe of the place that you're at, and the weather and the palm trees and the beach and the waves and all of that. It's just perfection. Now, this is a fragrance that if you are not into marine quality fragrances, you are not going to like this. If you are not into the note of oak moss and into musky fragrances, this is not the fragrance for you. But for me personally, considering what I can now see it was designed to do, this is a stellar fragrance. This is hands down like perfection for the summer. And I give it a 9.5 out of 10. All right, so this last fragrance, let me wipe my fingerprints because this bottle needs to look beautiful for you. All of these fragrances really shook me and shocked me, truly, because typically I do a lot of research and a lot of analysis and think a lot about a fragrance and look into the notes a lot and all that good stuff prior to even picking up a decant or a sample, because once I put energy into it, most likely I'm going to pick up the bottle. But these are fragrances that I knew that I was going to pick up the Profumo de Firenze one. I was just looking at those notes. I thought I was going to get something totally different. But I'm so impressed and I'm so happy that I picked it up. I really, for a while there, I didn't think that I was going to pick up L'Explicite, but thank God that I did because that is a true banana. But this next one, wow. This next one is from Nuit, Nomade, and this one is Chemin du Monde. And I can't even tell you how obsessed, that's the word, I am with this fragrance. First of all, let me tell you what I thought this fragrance was going to be. I thought that this was going to be a very almond forward kind of fragrance, and I'm pretty sure that I did not even bring this one. Maybe I'm wrong, you know, but I'm pretty sure that I did not bring this one to a chatty scent corner because I really had no plans to pick it up. But then I started to read some reviews and see some reviews, and everybody was raving about it. And I decided to give it a try. And I did send for a sample, and I immediately ordered the bottle at first sniff because I did not expect it to be what it is at all. And we're going to talk about it in detail. I expected this to be a very almond forward fragrance to the point where maybe the almonds were even gave like the scent like a bitter quality because of the excessive amount of almonds. I just for some reason thought this was going to be that type of fragrance, and that it was either going to be a strong love for me or an absolute hate, depending on how they balance that almond note with the woody notes and other notes involved, which there's not that many notes that have been disclosed. Now, the other thing that I want to tell you, because I haven't had a chance to discuss it with you, because there's been a couple of Saturdays that I haven't done like new releases. You know, I was in New York for that launch party, and then I came back and I did some other topic on a Saturday. But I sent for samples of all of the fragrances in this extrait collection from Nuit, Nomade, because I love Nuit, Nomade. I have quite a number of their bottles, but I had not picked up any of the extraits, right? I really wanted to wait and hear what others had to say and really do my research and really send for a discovery. And I did. This one is my favorite, and I love Jardins de Misfa. Like, I have the original and I'm getting the extrait, but this one, this is just beyond. But let's talk about it in detail. So this fragrance opens up very almond forward. as to be expected from the notes, even though the notes haven't even been like structured in top and mid and base. But this is truly a fragrance for an almond lover. If you do not enjoy a good almond, loaded with almond, right, and also a very nutty kind of fragrance, you're not going to like this one. So it opens up with that very, very strong and dominant almond, and it also opens up sweet. That sweetness, and I've questioned whether there's some vanilla in the opening or not, but I don't think that I'm getting really vanilla in the opening. I'm just getting that nuttiness of the almond. I'm getting the almond, and then there's like a creaminess to it and a sweetness. But shortly thereafter, you are going to start to pick up on like a floral presence to the fragrance. And I can't tell you, and I have really tried to figure that one out. I can't tell you what are the florals here, but I know that there are florals here, whether they disclose them or not. There are florals here, and I also pick up on the vanilla. Now, the vanilla is never, to my nose, a dominant note here, but it is definitely very present. The florals are never dominant nor very present. They're actually a little bit weak and in the background, but they're there, and I do pick up on them. Now, at the dry down, you are going to get the most exquisite, almond-loaded, nutty quality scent that you could possibly imagine. This is like a nutty fragrances lover dream, truly. And this is an exquisitely done almond note fragrance, because that bitter quality that typically comes with a very dominant almond note kind of fragrance is not found in this fragrance. At least to my nose, I get no bitterness. I just get a very rich almond note that is creamy and sweet and just perfection. And at the dry down, that's what you're going to get. And the dominant note at the dry down is the almond, but it's followed by the vanilla. The fragrance is definitely sweet on a backdrop of a touch of very like faint florals and woody notes, but they're there and I get them clearly. And that backdrop adds like a different spin to the fragrance and gives it character and makes for a fragrance, a scent that is so opulent. I can't call it anything else. It's very elegant and sophisticated, even though it's all about the almond and that nuttiness, but it truly is a very rich and opulent scent, and I am here for it. To me, guys, this is a masterpiece. This, for a fragrance collector that does appreciate a nutty quality fragrance and who has no problems with almonds, this is a must. This is an incredible fragrance that you really want to at least try, whether you're into that kind of scent profile or not. This fragrance to me also goes to show that in order to enjoy a fragrance and to enjoy the olfactory journey of a fragrance, you don't need 50 different notes, because if you really look at it, right, this is a very simple fragrance. This is a very simple fragrance that gives you an incredible olfactory journey, gives you an incredible wear experience, and that is not common or can easily be found in other fragrances, because I do not have one fragrance in my collection that has this scent. Really, truly, I have fragrances with almond. I have fragrances that have that creaminess to the almond because of the woody notes that are involved. But there is just something so different about this fragrance. So in its simplicity is where its special, its special character or its magic appears, right? It's in that simplicity. This is a fragrance that I think is best suited for the ages of 25 plus, one that you can pull in during any season of the year, because I plan to use this any season of the year. Can you layer with it? Absolutely. I think that layering with a floral scent that you really love would be lovely with this. I would not layer it with another gourmand, because this is very, very it's already there. I would not add nuttiness to it, but whatever scent you want to add to it that is either very demure here to your nose or non-existent would be a great way to layer this fragrance. There is no oud and no musk in this fragrance, and the performance is just stellar because while it doesn't border on being a beast mode fragrance, it does give me close to 9 hours of a full day wear. And at that, it has a very, very strong projection that exceeds the first 2 hours, and it does have a moderate sillage. It is an incredibly lovely fragrance that I dare say, if you like it, you're not going to like it. You're going to absolutely love it and be obsessed with it. This is truly a masterpiece in my opinion, and I give it a 10 out of 10. All right, guys, so we've reached the end of today's video, but I just wanted to say that today is like the example of why you can't ever judge a fragrance. You really do need to try fragrances on skin, on paper, and otherwise, because only doing that will you really understand the fragrance, will you understand what the fragrance can do for you on your skin and to your nose, and have that personal experience and evaluate the fragrance on your own. Because I thought that I really knew what these three were going to really give me and be about, you know, based on the DNA of the fragrance house, but most importantly, the notes and how they were described, right? But I was so wrong. I was so wrong. And I wish I would have had like a camera taking my reactions as I tried and tested each fragrance individually through the days so that you could see how amazed I was and how excited and happy. Like one day I just ran out of my room to look for my husband and tell him, this is incredible. This is just, wow, this is incredible. Because I really did not expect them to be not just great, they could have been great, but I did not expect them to be what they are to my nose and on my skin. And I am sure that if you give them a try, you too will be quite impressed. Anyway, guys, please let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances, your thoughts, how do you feel about them? The other thing that I do want to tell you, although I am really in love and very impressed and I have highly rated all three, these are not fragrances that I would necessarily blind buy because they could definitely go wrong. You know, the amazement that I am under and the happiness and the loving them is all because they are truly very different, right? The one from Profumo di Firenze with that whole beach vibe, that could also go very wrong to any other nose. So you really do want to try these fragrances on skin before deciding to pick them up. So get yourself a sample or a decant, but please let me know if you try them, what you think about them. Anyway, guys, thank you so much as always for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.